What's up, YouTube? John Longman here again with another video. Today I'm going to be tackling the question what is the difference between looking and lusting after other women? Because there is a difference between the two, and I think too often there's two different extremes here. One people will be like, oh well, I mean, I saw that woman as attractive, and I acknowledged her beauty, so therefore I might have been lusting. That might have been a sin. And then on the other extreme, you'll have people thinking that there's not there's nothing wrong with looking. I just can't touch, right? I just can't go overboard with it, right? Well, not necessarily either. So let's start with looking or noticing, because as humans, we acknowledge people's presence all the time. Like, for example, if we're in a room and someone walks in through the door, we hear the door open, we notice that person, we acknowledge their presence, we greet them in, and we see that person. I mean, it's just human instinct. I mean, we hear a noise, we see someone coming, we're going to look in that direction. So, that would be a form of looking or noticing. Um, and then you have females, which I think I could speak for all the guys when I say that women are without a doubt God's most beautiful creation. I mean, can I get an amen from the guys? I know that all the guys are going to agree with me on that one. So, when does it become lust, or when is it just looking, or acknowledging them, noticing their beauty? Um, because noticing a woman's beauty is not the same as lusting, and I think too many men sometimes will get and myself included, because I used to do this. I used to think that if I find another woman attractive, or like a woman passes by and I'm like, she's very beautiful, and then I'm like, well, what is wrong with me? Am I some kind of pervert or something? I mean, I had this stupidly high expectation. I was way up here when I didn't need to be, um, and expecting to only find my wife attractive, to never ever acknowledge the beauty of another woman, to never find another woman attractive. I expected that from myself. And then, well, years ago, when I was a teenager, and then just before I met my wife, my expectations were way down here, not high enough. Thinking that, well, I can just look at whoever, whenever. Um, but still, in the back of my mind, I knew that I shouldn't be checking out other women, but I didn't really see as much of a harm in that as actually going out and having an affair or something. Which, well, I guess I can agree that going out and just all the way having an affair would be worse, but I mean, lust is still a sin, and God's going to judge that the same. And Jesus did say that he who looks at a woman to lust after has already committed adultery with her in his heart. So it's really no different in God's eyes. So we should keep that same standard for ourselves as Christians. But um, but as far as looking goes, I mean, yes, I do have to agree that we as men, we were created to be visual creatures, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's a blessing, because I mean that's something that we enjoy. We enjoy the beauty of the female form, and God created us that way to so we can use that to love our wives and to be pleased with them. But just like any other gift, it can be abused. And I mean, obviously, after you get married, the the wife is going to be your number one woman in the world, but there is not some magical thing that happens where after you get married, your wife is only going to be the only attractive woman that you'll ever see for the rest of your life. No, that's just that's just not how it happens. But at the same time, we need to be very careful with how much we acknowledge other women and how long we look at them. Like, if an attractive woman passes by and you notice them and you do acknowledge that they're good looking, where does it go from there? Do you do you look twice? Do you gawk at them? Do you stop and stare and you don't bounce your eyes? Do you look them up and down? Things like that. That's when I have to say that it becomes lust. And that is where I draw the line. That's where it's no longer looking or acknowledging, because some men like to say, well, to justify their behaviors, well, I mean, it's the the female body is like a beautiful piece of art. We don't look at them any differently than we do a nice car or a beautiful painting or something like that, or a nice sunset or whatever. Now, we are God's handiwork. I mean, we are, in a sense, a kind of work of art because God made us so beautiful. He made us in His image and likeness. But women are not the same thing as a beautiful piece of machinery like a car. They're not the same thing as a painting or a nice sunset or whatever, which, I mean, no, God created that as well, but we are more valuable to Him than that, than things. So I think we should have that same mindset as God has, and look at them as beautiful human beings, as a precious jewel, like He thinks of us. And well, if you're constantly looking at their figures and things like that, then well, doesn't that become objectifying? And that's where I think maybe another sin kind of comes into play. Maybe it is not quite the same as lust, because some may argue, well, lusting is coveting, right? Lusting is if you have some kind of fantasy about them, right? What if I'm just looking? Well, maybe it's not lust. I kind of think it's a form of it, but let's just say that it's not. Well, objectifying, I think, would be. And that's sort of what you're doing. Now, I am in no way a perfect man, but I have learned to how to combat that, and that's by bouncing my eyes. Because I used to, like I said, I used to have this stupidly high expectation of myself that was very unrealistic, and I handled it by literally walking with my head down everywhere I went and not acknowledging the the opposite sex at all, like pretending that they weren't even there. And well, did it work? Not really. And why I say that is because, well, for one, it made me look like I had some kind of low self-esteem about myself, which admittedly I kind of did. But also, I'm not exactly looking where I'm going, and eventually I had to lift my head up a little bit. So do you know what happened? A lot of times, whenever I finally would pick up my head, a little bit to kind of see where I'm going. Well, where did that leave my eyes? It didn't leave them very high up, so I kind of was not purposely, but kind of picking up my eyes on the lower half of the female body, which men are attracted to. So I mean, so then I'd have to bounce my eyes like almost immediately like that. So like it kind of did more harm than good in several different ways. Like it made me look like I'm always depressed or low on myself, and then when I finally did pick up my eyes, I'm picking them up kind of at the wrong level. Um, so I don't do that anymore, and I've learned that, well, all right, yeah, maybe my wife's not going to be the only attractive female in the world, and that's fine because I know that, I mean, not that I'm just some great looking guy, but I know that to my wife that I'm not the only good looking guy to her in the world either. I am totally aware of that. But I mean, there is a reason why our spouse is the one. And and to me, my wife is the most beautiful woman in the world. And more than just looks. I think about it as far as looks goes, but she is more than that. More than just looks to me. So and out of respect, I do bounce my eyes when I see other attractive females because, well, for one, I don't want to fall into it to a temptation, and then I want to be respectful to them, and more importantly to my wife, and more importantly even still to God. So I want to treat others with respect, and I want to respect God's handiwork. So that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree? Is there anything you'd like to add to it? Let me know. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. God bless.